Hello and welcome to this edition of HCS Matters. I'm John Wright, the Public Relations Director for Hardin County Schools. We're glad that you could be with us, and we have something, seems like something new and exciting going on all the time in Hardin County Schools, but this initiative is really in its second year, but it's starting to flourish, and that is the Academy at EC3, which is our early college pathway. Dan Robbins is the principal at EC3, and Dan, the exciting part about this, man, it's hard to believe really, so what you're hearing is true. Students can walk away in their senior year with an associate's degree. That's 60 college hours under their belt, and so that lessens the college stay by 2 years. How is that possible?
Well, it's only possible when you have an agency or a school like ECTC wanting to partner with us. They basically provide the instruction. Our students pay the state rate of 1/3 tuition costs. And they get the college classes they need to meet either the Associates of Arts or Associates of Science degree.
So 1/3 of the college rate. Right now, of course, obviously we know college rates fluctuate. So right now, as of today, if I'm going to take 3 hours of college credit through this pathway, what would it cost me?
It would cost you $162.
Wow.
Yeah. So the most affordable college in the state of Kentucky is obviously through our KCTCS system. And so the KCTCS system charges $162 per credit hour currently. We get 1/3 of the tuition, which makes it to be $54. Then you just do the math on it per credit hour, which a typical class is 3 credit hours. So we're back to $162. There are some fees that go along on top of it if the student is taking an online class, but still, when you factor all of those in, the cost is phenomenal. I mean, it's the best savings you're ever going to get.
So how does it work? Let's get into the logistics of how the Academy at EC3 works.
Yeah. So the junior year is probably the most unique part about it. The students are here in our building their junior year, and they're taking classes from their college professors. So ECTC sends college professors here. We created a schedule. They're in a cohort. So we have 46 students doing that. So they're in 2 groups of 23, and they stay in the same classes. Now, very different from traditional high school. We know that students go to class Monday through Friday. I mean, that is our high school schedule. But in college, as you know, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday. There used to be a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but even ECTC has gone away from that, where Fridays are kind of flex. So we do Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday. And the students take a class for an hour and 15 minutes. They get a 15-minute break, and then they start their next hour and 15-minute class. So between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the students are getting 4 classes in, and they do that from 9 until 11:45.
So obviously a high school schedule, a high school district calendar and a college calendar is a little bit different. How do you deal with the overlay there?
Yeah, the great part about that is ECTC has agreed that the high school juniors, mostly because of transportation needs, will operate on Hardin County School schedule. That's very unique. We're getting ready to hit fall break the first week of October, and in college, there is no such thing really as a fall break, or at least for a week anyway, but the college has agreed. Yeah, we'll honor that schedule. Following Monday, we're off for Professional Learning Day. They're honoring that schedule, so they're just willing to work with us, and it just only happens through communication and partnership in that. So
well, let's just say Dr. Pate has opened up a lot of doors, and that opened up something that probably wasn't there in former years and years long ago.
Well, I think that Dr. Pate has brought a fresh eyes to an already really good educational institution. Sometimes it's just the idea of, okay, let's try that, versus no, we've never done that before. And I think that's part of it. Dr. Pate has definitely helped facilitate a lot of that, but you also have other major players over there at the college, Dr. Evans, Dr. Buckles, Lauren Sims, the new dual credit coordinator, Samantha Manier, who's been phenomenal with us. But all of those people there they're just kind of, in my opinion, they're an extension of our faculty. We communicate on a daily or weekly basis all the time, and on what we can do to make the program even better.
So we started last year with 20 some students, I believe. This year we're almost full. We're at 46 of 48 possible slots. What's been the key to growth?
I think exposure I think we've tried to do a pretty good job of getting the word out about what the program is. But to be honest, I think I would probably attribute most of it to the students. The students talk. We know, whether good, bad, or indifferent, and you know how that is with publicity. The students are talking to their friends, and they're telling their friends about, let me tell you about my schedule. Let me tell you about what I do. And I think that word of mouth is continuing to spread, and that's really what's drawing the attention to this type of program.
So if I'm a high school student, let's say, for example, at John Hardin High School, and I'm in this pathway, am I ever at John Hardin High School?
Well, yes, you can be. It's really a choice that comes down to it. We knew going into this that we wanted to make sure that students could continue to have that identity as a Bulldog or Trojan or a Bruin. We didn't want to take that away. We never want to take that away, even within our pathways at EC3. We want those students to have that high school experience. And so students choose to do that. Our schedule, like I said, goes until 11:45 of traditional classrooms where they're sitting in front of a teacher. They also have the opportunity to take an online class. That comes in the 5th class to make the 15 hours that they would get during any one semester. So after they use that time, they use an additional hour or so to study and do their online work. It's about 12:40. Well, 12:40 is when our buses leave for our 3rd period. So a lot of our students, whether they drive or they need transportation, get on that bus at 12:40 and go back to their high school. So they go back to their high school and they can take on 4th and 5th period in the traditional setting at Central John or North. We have students that are doing that because they're in band. We have students that are doing that because they're in ROTC, they're in choir, they're wanting to take maybe a CTE class back at the high school. Maybe they're looking for something academic, maybe like an anatomy class, or they're looking for a pre-cal, they want an additional math. So there's several different options of why a student might want to do that. We have some students that are athletes and they want to be back in the building just because practice is going to be, they're going to be much closer. So we just do whatever we can to make it work. That approach to scheduling is because of our one-on-one. We just talk to kids, say, what do you want? Very different from the days of when you and I went to school, where it just says, this is what you get. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say that no one cared about what we wanted, but I think we are more focused now on what kids want.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing you say is that really is not an obstacle to allow my student or any other student to do this. There's nothing that stands in the way.
I can't identify one. I try not to look through rose-colored glasses, but I'd like for someone to tell me what the obstacle would be. If there is one, point it out to us. Again, we're new in this. We're still trying to figure a lot of things out. I go to my students a lot and I say, tell me what's going on. Tell me what we can do to make it better. The other part that's really different for them is, as I mentioned, Monday through Thursday, Fridays. So Fridays, they do not have college classes. So what do? Well, you were just downstairs with me a few minutes ago. Our students are working on ACT prep. Though these students all already have benchmarks, like every other college-bound student, they are interested in raising their score because a higher score means more money for college. And we know that the cost of college continues to go up. So we're doing our best to lower that cost through getting your associate's degree in high school, through continued prep for ACT higher score so they can get those freshman scholarships, all of those types of things. And that's the additional. These students will be eligible with an associate's degree for a Kentucky transfer scholarship. So our public colleges and universities in the state of Kentucky offer a transfer scholarship based off of their college GPA. So not their high school GPA, it's a college GPA because they have their associate's degree. If those students can maintain anywhere from a 3.0 to a 4.0, obviously the higher the score, the better. Those students will be able to pay the price that they would pay at a KCTCS institution to go to the 3rd and 4th year at their 4-year college.
Right.
Plus, you add in their Keys money and freshman scholarships that they're still eligible for because they earned their associates while in high school. We talk about financial burden, having to pay back student loans and things like that. It's non-existent. They're gone for these students.
Wow.
I just can't imagine. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen, and we'll see that in a few years of what their bill will be in college, but I can't imagine it being very much.
So a student walks out of here, their senior year, they have 2 years left. I know at 20 years old, so I'm going to be 20 basically when I graduate college. Am I going to be ready? I mean, do you foresee these students being ready to go? I do.
I think so. I mean, they are already showing a maturity level in high school that I know I probably didn't experience until I was 22 years old. So yeah, they will be ready. They're going to be able to tackle the workforce at a much younger age, and they're going to be able to navigate that field because they've already been doing college at an earlier age.
Much talk is made about millennials and how maybe they don't have the work ethic, or maybe they don't have. It seems like students, especially in this pathway, probably have more ethic than maybe you and I had when we were in school 25 years ago.
Hands down. I know that the students have much more work ethic. They're more focused on what their goals are, like I said, than I ever was until a much later age. So yeah, you can talk about millennials in all kinds of different forms of fashion, but I know that we have at least a different subgroup within that we're very excited about and can't wait to see what the future holds.
So I don't have to be a 4.0 or a 3.9 kid to get into this program.
Oh no, absolutely not. I mean, I would, though our average GPA for these students is a 3.9 right now. I think that we often see students that were just looking for something different. They were taking on the challenging curriculum at their high schools, but all depending on where they go to school, what they're offered going into their junior year. You know, the dual credit capabilities for high schools is all dependent upon what your teachers are credentialed for. And so, you know, within our own district, we have a little bit of inequality, I guess you would say, because of the faculty that's at those schools. They're phenomenal faculty, but to teach at a dual credit level, they must have 18 hours of master's degree in that subject matter. That's not our role, that's the college's role. And so, and it's challenging a lot of times as teachers go back to school, a lot of times to move up in education, you seek an additional degree. Maybe it's in guidance counseling or administration or something like that. So if you did that versus seeking something in your content area, doesn't make you a bad teacher. It's just you're looking at something to help improve your status,
Sure.
you know, professionally. So those options are limited.
So if I'm a sophomore right now, or maybe even a freshman, and I really want to get into this program, what are my next steps? What do I need to be doing?
Yeah, the next steps would be is get yourself into an ACT. You've got to take the ACT. The next one is October 28th. The regular deadline was actually last Friday. You can still register with a late fee, and it's not that bad. So I would still encourage them, take the test. Don't worry about going into the test and scoring the perfect score. Just go in and take it. See where you fit. You may go in and find out, I'm already college ready. You may find out I got a lot of work to do, but at least you know where you stand. So I tell the students, just go in and give it a shot. We'll see. The next test after that will be in December, which students can still get a score in decent time. Our biggest thing is we want to make sure they have a qualifying score before the start of next school year. Okay. That would be the deadline. We had seats for 48 kids next year. I really believe as we continue to grow this program, we probably will have a morning group and an afternoon group. So I'm envisioning possibly having a total of 96 seats available to this. And I think we have to do that. We have to expand with our student needs. And so we've already been talking with the college about that and being prepared with their faculty to take that on. And like I said, Dr. Pate and his staff over there are ready to take it on.
Well, and we bragged on Dr. Pate and the staff over there, but let's brag on us for a second. Mm-hmm. I mean, our administration, our Board of Education has embraced this. You have embraced it as principal of this facility. I mean, Hardin County Schools has done a great job opening doors for students.
Absolutely. We've used the word in several years about opportunity, and we continue to provide opportunity. This is another opportunity that the Board of Education has supported fully and given students the opportunity to do this by making sure it's not a burden financially to students. We've been able to take some measures to take care of some of that for some individual students, taking care of the burden of textbooks, different things like that come about, because we're providing transportation here. We've removed a lot of those walls and barriers that some people may find that keeps them from ever going to college. And we know, statistics show, once a student starts in college, they're more likely to finish. So we're at least starting a small group of students to do so that are choosing to come for this program.
All right, well, that's Mr. Robbins. He's the principal here at the Early College Career Center, kind of captains the ship with all the pathways here, especially the Early College pathway. Now we're going to talk to a couple of students and get their take on the exciting year that they are having as not only high school juniors, but as college freshmen. We've talked to Mr. Robbins about the early college pathway, the academy at EC3. We're with Kelsey Corfidge, who is a junior at John Hardin High School. Kelsey, why does this program work for you? What's so cool about this program?
Personally, this program works for me because I'm an athlete and it gives me a lot more time during the day to get schoolwork done. Our classes are condensed, so then I spend more time in the afternoon worrying about athletics.
Okay. So all your classes are in this building, or do you go to the main campus?
Yeah, they're all in this building, back between 2 or 3 classrooms, and it's all from 9 to 12.
So you're a high school junior and a college freshman.
Yeah.
How is it's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like when somebody asks you where you go to school, you have to be like, well, I go to John, but I'm never there.
Right. So you spend all day here. Now some students don't do that. Some students go back to school
Yeah.
for part of the day. Okay.
To take extra classes.
So how has the college experience been so far?
I think our college experience is a little like misconstrued, because we're not like on the college campus
Right.
walking to classes,
Right.
but there's a lot of leeway, and it's like you get what you want done. So it's all like self-driven.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So accountability.
Yeah.
You in your high school classes, your middle school classes, your elementary classes, you were driven by your teacher, by your parents. Hey, you've got to get this done by X date at X time. And I'm going to help you get there.
Yeah.
Not that way now, is it?
No, we're given a syllabus with due dates, and if the teacher brings it up in class, and that kind of reminds you. But there's been a week where I have an online class, and I'm like, oh shoot, I have a quiz, and like I'm planning time to get that done.
So what's next for you? I mean, are you continuing next year in this program?
Yeah. So
Okay.
next year, instead of being here, we'll be like the seniors are now, and we'll actually go to ECTC and be on campus.
Okay.
So that's what I'm hoping. By the end of the program, we should be able to have our associates in gen ed,
Okay.
which is what I plan to do, and then proceed to a nursing program, which if I continue with this, ECTC has a nursing program.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you. What's next for you? So, as I shared with Mr. Robbins, you'll be 20 and a college graduate.
Yeah.
Are you? You didn't think about that till now.
No.
So, will you be ready? Will you be prepared to be a college graduate at 20 years old?
I hope so. I don't know. I know that this program does a lot of like relationship building. So there's people that I've met from Central and North that I'm like, hey, I like might end up working with them because they're the same type of driven people that like want to do what I want to do. So I think that it is preparing me for like actually being around people who want to have a career and be successful.
What advice can you give a student that's thinking about this program?
If you want to do it, you have to be driven. There's days when we come in and Robbins is just like, look, you do your work and you have to sit and do it. You can't just sit with your friends. Or like I work in the office and help Miss Trout out. I can't sit there and, throw a bouncy ball around because there's a computer right in front of me and I have stuff to do. So,
You've become an adult real quick, haven't you?
yeah. You figure out like time management. That's another thing. You can't come in and expect like your teacher to be lenient. There's teachers who have due dates and expect stuff by that date.
All right, we've been talking with Kelsey Corfidge, who's a junior at John Hardin. We'll be back with a couple other students here in just a second. Drew Corder is a junior at North Hardin High School, is also a freshman in college. Have you thought about, does that mean something to you?
It's different because like you get asked what you want to be when you grow up, and then you're like a junior in high school, but you have to have this idea of what you want to be because you're also a freshman in college, so you don't have that much time to think about it. But yeah, it's definitely enjoyable because.
What's been the biggest? What's been something maybe you didn't think about being in this program that you have to face, or some challenges you have?
I definitely thought it would be. It's more challenging than I thought it would be,
Okay.
because I was thinking that going into it, it's freshman level college, so it would be kind of similar to what I'm learning in high school, but it's actually a lot more challenging than I was expecting, so I've had to adapt to that and adjust my working habits.
Well, so we talked with Kelsey about accountability and how you're kind of the master of your own schedule.
Yep.
Does that, are you prepared for that?
Yes, I think it's very important to be held accountable,
Okay.
especially because in this day and age, there's not a lot of accountability within schools.
So talk about your classes and what the instructors are like, and because they're college instructors.
My classes, they're very like, you're self-motivated, like you have to do things yourself. You have to, there's a lot of responsibility put on you because the teachers don't remind you like a high school class every day to have this test studied tomorrow. It's very like, you come in, this happened yesterday, you come in and they say, all right, time for the quiz. And you're like,
What
quiz? And they go, the quiz that was on your syllabus that I gave you a month and a half ago. And you go, oh, well, I guess it's my fault. I'm held accountable.
Right.
So it's a lot about that.
Okay. So as we talked with Kelsey, you're going to be 20 years old and have a degree or associate's degree. So what do you envision happening for yourself next?
After this program, probably going up to Louisville or any college that'll take me.
Okay.
I don't really have a preference.
Okay.
And then finishing my education there and starting my career.
Okay. So, walking into the workforce 2, maybe even 3 years earlier than your peers are. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it definitely gives me an advantage over them. Being able to have more experience going in, I'll have 2 or 3 more years of experience going into a job than they will. So it gives me that edge in competition. But overall, I'm ready to get into the job field and start working.
Okay, good deal. We'll be back with another student here in just a second.
Thank you.
Weston King is a junior at Central Hardin High School and in the academy at EC3. What's your experience been like so far?
So far, it's been a lot different than high school. It's a lot less time in class and a lot more outside of class, having to kind of teach yourself how to do the lessons and the homework, and then going back in class and discussing it more or less than the teacher tells you all the information and then gives you an assignment to do.
So we've heard that from your peers that have been sitting here as well. So how do you handle that? I mean, in high school, you have Mrs. Jones or whoever saying, okay, Weston, quiz tomorrow or test tomorrow. And in college, it's not like that.
Yeah, a lot of our classes now, a lot of our homework is online instead of them giving us paper. And so the teacher will give you your assignment online and then give you links to different readings. And you also get a book, and they will give you pages to the book, and they'll show you videos or PowerPoints. And then it's a lot easier on the student if you go either fast or slow in a class, because then you get to work at your own pace instead of having to conform to everybody else. And then, yeah, that's
Is that easier for you?
That is easier for me because I would generally go a lot faster than everybody else in class, and I would get a little bored. And then for some people I know in here would go a little slower, but that doesn't mean that you're not as intelligent. That just means that you learn different than other people.
Sure.
And so it really gives you the freedom to kind of learn how you want to learn.
Tell us about what your schedule's like, what you do daily.
My schedule consists of, in the morning, I go to class. I have 2 classes every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. And then I get out of class at 11:45 on Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. But I actually take a Spanish class over at ECTC. It's a college. Okay. And then we have a trail in the back, and we just walk over there. And then that's unlike here, where here we have all high school juniors. Over at the college, we have everybody. We have people.
You have adults in there, right?
Yeah, we have people in their 60s, people in their 40s. It's a lot different than just here at EC3.
So what's that like? I mean, you're a high school junior. You're sitting in class next to a 45-year-old.
Oh, it's a lot different than your high school experience because they're your peers. But when you go to a college and there's people of all different ages in there, then you're like, man, like the teachers are being taught now in the same class that I am. It's different.
Right. Mm-hmm. So we've asked this question too of some other folks. So you're going to be you'll have a degree by 18. You'll have a bachelor's degree by 20, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah. When you think about that, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh my gosh, I'm just thinking that I'm going to be out there starting my career earlier than all of my friends now, and they're still going to be in college, but I'm going to be out with a job and already have 2 years job experience before they even have their degree.
So what are the advantages to this for you, for Weston King? What makes this the Academy at EC3 program, the early college pathway? What made it attractive to you? Let me ask you that.
Well, we get out of class at 11:45 every day, and I do the VEX robotics program, and so I have the extra 3 hours or so to work with my team and work on problems, and I also have that 3 hours to work on either homework or studying or anything that I didn't get done that I need to get done. It just gives me extra free time And also, it's 1/3 tuition price, and you can't really pass up
Right.
that.
I'm sure your mom and dad appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, do you still get to be Weston King, the friend to your friends? And because, I mean, now you've probably got a lot more homework and stuff like that. Do you still get to have a social life, I guess?
Well, while my friends are over at Central Hardin, I'm over here, so I don't ever really see them anymore. But I do still keep in contact with them. And it's just kind of like moving on from high school. It is college. It's not high school anymore. And you all go your separate ways, and that's just how it works.
If you want to, whereas in high school, if you wanted to ask your teacher a question, you maybe stay after class or go in before school or whatever. What's that like now? What is seeking help for your instructors?
Teachers do have office hours, but some teachers have classes over at ECTC. Like, I know my English teacher and my history teacher have other classes to teach, but my math teacher is always downstairs. And so if we need help, we can always ask him. And you can also, since it's all online, you can email your teachers and they will get back to you within probably an hour or 2 hours. They get back really quick.
So, online or classroom? What's best for you?
Best for me is online because used to in class, if I'm talking to my friends or something, but when I go home, I work best at home, and I work best when I'm by myself without distractions. And so I can do all that by myself online at home now instead of in a group.
As you can tell, there are lots of opportunities to succeed here in the Hardin County schools, and one avenue of opportunity is the early college pathway for our high school juniors and seniors. Just to repeat, juniors and seniors are in classes, college level classes, and they will walk across their high school graduation stage, and they will have an associate's degree from Elizabethtown Community and Technical College. And that means they can go to a four-year institution if they so desire earlier. They can graduate from that four-year institution earlier, and they can enter the workforce earlier, and they can become tax-paying, working citizens earlier. So they can start making money, they can be adults, and they can become even stronger members of our community. They already are strong members of our community, but they can hold leadership roles and become stronger members of our community in a strongly competitive global marketplace that we are in, certainly here in Hardin County. So to take advantage of the program, I would go to the Early College and Career Center's website or contact Mr. Dan Robbins, who is the principal here at the Early College and Career Center, Mrs. Christy Wright, who is also the guidance counselor here at the Early College and Career Center, and or maybe even your principal or guidance counselor at your local or at your child's high school, and just talk with them about how you can get into this early college pathway to become involved in this and to work toward getting your child getting their degree earlier, 2 years earlier, their college degree 2 years earlier than ever thought before. So we thank you for joining us, and just stay in touch with us on social media, stay in touch with us with our website, and so you can learn about the opportunities that your child has in the Hardin County schools.